So arguments, now arguments and variables are it's the same kind of you can say functionality. So why we are using the variables? Variable is to store a particular value in a variable, right? We are using variable to store some values like integer values, like boolean values, like string values, or you can say double values, right? So same way argument is used as a similar way, right? Only difference here is with argument and with variable is like argument is used to pass a data from one particular workflow to another workflow, right? We will see that in a practical way, right? So arguments is used to pass data from a project, or you can say from a one workflow to another workflow. Variable pass data between activities, while argument pass data between workflows, right? So I'll just we'll see that how we can use the arguments here. Okay, now here let's take, now for example we have main.xml file, right? This is my variables and this is my arguments, right? Now what I need to do, I need to create a logic of addition, subtraction, multiplication, right? So we will take that example. Now what we have two variables, like for example I'll just take for example var int 1. Okay, again I'll just create var int 2. Okay, and variable type is equal to integer 32. That means we have two variables. I'll just take two assign activity here, right? And here I'll used var int 1 and I'll just give the value is equal to 20. Again I'll just create one more variable var int 2 is equal to 10. Now what I need to do as a real project or as a real program, what I need to do, I need to add these two numbers, I need to multiply these two numbers, I need to subtract two numbers. Then how we can do that in practical way, right? So what I'll do now, for addition I'll just create one more workflow. I'll just mention the name as like addition, right? Same way for multiplication, again I'll just create one more sequence and I'll just give the name as multiplication. And subtraction same way. Okay, subtraction. Okay, now I have three files, or you can say I have three workflows, or I have three XML files which I have created for addition, for multiplication, and for subtraction, right? And inside main I have two variables. Now I want to create my program in a such a way, right? I want to create my program in a dynamic way, right? So what I need to do, I need to add these two numbers, right? So in this addition, what is the formula of the addition? It's like simple, no? C is equal to A plus B, right? So that for that as well, again I have just create one variable called var addition, and I'll make that variable type is equal to integer. For subtraction, var sub subtraction, and here I'll just make this variable type is equal to integer, and here you can say var multiplication, and here I'll just choose variable type is equal to integer 32, because I need to add, I need to subtract, and I need to multiply, right? That is fine. But what I need to do, I am not writing that code inside directly inside this main dot you can say XML, right? For that what I'll do, I'll create that logic inside my addition workflow, right? So for that what I'll do, I'll use one more assign activity, and what is the formula for that? C is equal to A plus B, right? So here also in the multiplication, again I'll just take one more assign activity. In the subtraction also I'll take one assign activity, right? Addition, multiplication, and subtraction. Now what I need to do, I need to for addition purpose. For example, this is my addition, right? Now what I'll do, if you see, I have created variables here, right? I have created these two variables here. Now I want to use these two variables for addition purpose. Means in short, what I need to do here is I need to pass these two variables for addition. I'm passing this two variable data from this main to my addition. Okay. So as we know, what do you mean by the argument? Argument is used to pass data from one workflow to another workflow. Now for that, what I'll do, just concentrate here. Now here I am not creating variable again. So here what I'll do, I'll create the arguments, right? So again, if you see variables, see create variables, variable type, scope, default. We have these four options, or you can say these four headings we have in the variable: create variable, variable type, scope, and default. Arguments is same like create arguments, only difference is argument type and default value. Only difference is detection, that we will see later. Okay. Now here what I'll do, I'll use, for example, I'm creating the argument, so I'll use args underscore you can say value 1. Args for arguments, to differentiate where, so I used variable. So for arguments I am using args as a keyword. Args value 1, right? And what is the argument type here? Integer. Similar way, again I'll just create one more arguments, and here I'll use value 2. Here also it's an integer, so it's integer 32, and again args underscore value 3, and here argument type is equal to integer. Now here in this addition .xml or this addition workflow, I'll just create a simple formula is equal to c is equal to a plus b, and then I'm just pass that value to use in this formula. So here for that I'll use, for example, args value 3 is equal to args value 1 plus args value 2. Now this formula is ready for me, right? This formula is ready for me. Now similar way, right, in the multiplication, again inside this argument I'll use args value 1, again this is for args value 2, and here I'll use args value 3, right? And argument type is integer, right? Argument type is equal to integer, right? Subtraction, that is fine. Again here also I'll just create the argument. So args value 1, right, integer, args value 2, this is argument type is equal to integer, and args value 3 is equal to integer 32. So I have created a formula here, right? So here I'll just make args value 3, this is subtraction, so I'll just args value 1, args value 2, right? This formula is ready. Subtraction, multiplication, args value 3 is equal to args value 1 multiply args value 2. This is multiplication, this is subtraction, and this is my addition. Then that means I have created the formula here, right? In future, just consider in future if I want to change this value, then why I have create this program in a dynamic way. When we create any program or when we create any software, then two things we need to remember. Whenever we code that, we need to create the code in a very lesser manner, and the second, we need to create the code in a dynamic way. Dynamic means now in this example, if you want to change the value, right, then what I need to do, I need to only change these two values in future. I don't require to change anything from this formula. I don't require to change anything from this formula. I don't require to change anything in this formula. That's what, when we create the program or when we create any project, then we can create this program in a very dynamic manner. Okay, now what I need to do here is, now my formula is ready, like addition, multiplication, subtraction. Now I want to execute that. So for that, what I'll do, I need to add first, right? I need to add these two numbers, so I'll include this addition workflow here, then again subtraction here, and again I'm dragging the multiplication workflow here, right? So in short, I am sending these two variable value in this formula for addition, again subtraction for subtraction, and multiplication for multiplication, right? Now if you see, we have this import argument. Once I drag these files, you will see we have one button called as the import argument with this 0 value. Similar for subtraction and similar for multiplication. What is this, right? So for that, now if you open this, we have two buttons, one import arguments and one is the open workflow. Now if I want to open this workflow, we have two options. One is we can directly call this open workflow and we can go inside this workflow addition. The second way, you can right click here and you have this option called open workflow. So in this way also you can direct come inside the open.xml, right? Two options, like one open workflow and the second right click and open workflow, right? Now what is this import arguments, right? So now you, for example, if I'll click on this import argument, so once I click on this import argument, I'll get this pop-up for me, and inside this pop-up I will get three options. Whichever argument I have created, that all three arguments is appeared here. You will see arguments value 1, arguments value 2 and arguments value 3 with direction in. So later we'll see what is this direction and why this direction is used. Now simply what I'll do, now once I click, if you see, now this is a 0 when I'll just import that, or I'll just drag this XAML file here, and once I click on this import argument, you will see it will mention the number as a 3. That means now we have 3 arguments with me. Now what I'll do, this is argument value 1. So what I need to do, I need to pass the value 10. Now variable 2 is, variable 1 is holding the value 20. So I'll just pass this value variable 1. That means 20. I am passing this 20 value to my argument value 1. Similar way, value 2 is holding value of 10. So here I am passing the value of variable var int 2 to argument value 2. Now we have one more argument value 3, right? Once this addition workflow will start, like we have argument 3 is equal to argument value plus argument 3. So value 1 plus value 2, like 20 plus 10 is equal to 30, and this 30 values store inside the argument underscore value 3. Again, to store this argument value, we have one more variable which we have created called as the var addition. See, var addition, right? And now I'll just click on the OK button. Again I will show you. So now we have created 3 arguments, right? We have created 3 arguments here, right? Argument 1, argument value 2, argument value 3, and I have prepared the formula like argument 3 is equal to argument value 1 plus argument value 3. This is only for formula. We have not created any variable, we have not passed any value directly inside this addition, right? We already have the value, right? We created a value. What I need to do, I need to simply pass this value to this workflow. That's what we have created the arguments, right? And here now we have created the arguments. Now when we execute this, right, when we execute this, we'll see how this execution will happen, right? To understand that, what I'll do, I'll simply put two right line here, right line here. For example, like args value, right, dot to string, because this is right line, so only string value will consider. That's what I have created the argument value as an integer that I need to convert to string. That's what I have just used dot to string function. Okay, now here also, now what I'll do, I'll just use argument value 3 dot to string. Okay, now I'll debug the code. Okay, I will not execute this code directly, okay, because I need to understand how this execution will follow. Okay, so for that, inside this debug I'll simply use step into. Okay, okay, step into. Okay, step into. Now variable var int is equal to 20. Again, step into variable 2, which is the value of the variable 2, 10. Okay, now I am inside this addition.xml file. Again, if I'll create this step into, now I am inside the addition workflow, right? Now if you see, now argument underscore value is equal to 20, which I have already passed. Again, if you see, argument value 2 is equal to 10, which I have already passed, right? Now argument value 3 is not yet executes, that's what we have not got that value, right? So I'll just execute this, and if you see arguments value 1 dot to string, okay, if I'll execute this, you will see this 20 value, argument value is equal to 20. So argument value is equal to 20, arguments value 2 is equal to 10, and if I'll execute this step into, you will see now this argument value 3 is equal to 20 plus 10 is equal to 30 addition. And again I'll just click on this step into, right? I'll just stop this. Now I got the result. Okay, I got the result. Now but I don't want result inside this or you can say inside this addition. I need result here inside this main. We'll see, for example, here I'll use one right line, right? And here I'll use, for example, I need a result in the addition variable, so I'll use addition, right? In the double quotes I'll use addition, right, in plus, and I'll use this addition variable which I have created, right? Because what was my intention? My intention was like whichever variable, for example, I have created this var integer variable, right, var addition variable, so I need the output in the var addition variable. We'll see, now we'll get the result inside this addition. As we see, we will see like argument value 3 is equal to 30, right? But I need result inside the this main workflow. So again I'll just make the now I don't require, I am not doing debugging again, it takes some time. I need, so here I'll just place one breakpoint. So what is this breakpoint and why we are use the breakpoint? Now this is also play a role for the debugger, right? But now if I'll make this activity and I put the breakpoint here, now if I'll run this program, so my execution will execute all this activity and they will just see, now it's executing, right, and it will stop here at the breakpoint. So I can directly see the value of this right line, right, instead of doing each and every activity as a debugger mode. So I'll just make one breakpoint here and I'll just execute it, because I only need to see what is the value of this addition. Okay, now again I'll just click on this step into. Now if you see here, now variable int is equal to 20, variable 10 is equal to 20, but I am not getting the value like variable addition is equal to 0. I am not getting the value is equal to 30. Why so? If you see addition, this addition, no, addition value is equal to 0. I am not getting that value as a 30. Why so? So it's because of this direction of my argument. It's because of this direction of my argument. Now we have the direction. Inside this direction we have in, we have out, and we have in out, in and out. So what do you mean by this in, and what do you mean by the out? Right, now in means, now it's by default in mean inside. I am sending this value to this workflow. I am sending this 20, or I am sending this 10 value, or you can say I am sending this variable 1 value and variable 2 value inside the addition.xaml. In, I am sending that value inside in, I am inning that value. I am sending that value to, you see, direction in, inside the addition.xml. That's what, when we execute this, I'll got that value here, and I'll got the addition as well. But here I am not getting the value as addition is equal to 30. So how we can achieve this, right? So for that, what I'll do here, now I need this value, right? I need this value, or you can say I need this value, like for example argument value 3 as a 30 to this main workflow. In short, what I'll do now, see, now I'll simply change this direction of this value, and I'll just make this direction as a out. Right, now here I'll again, once I change that value, so here also I need to change that, or I need to assign that value again. So if you see, now this direction is equal to out, and here I'll just make that variable addition again. Now what happened here, now once I make that value is equal to out, now here with help of that out, now I am outing that value from this addition to my main workflow. I am outing that. See, out, in means inside, out means outside. In means inside this addition workflow, I'm inside, I'm accessing that value, I'm insiding that value, this addition values. Okay, but when we use this value, or I am sending that value out from this addition to main workflow, right? So I am outing that value from that workflow to outer workflow, here out. Now I'll again execute this program, and let's see what result we will get. Okay, now if you see where addition equal to 30, so I'll get my result, expected result. If you see, this addition is equal to 30. Simple. So in direction we have three types of the direction: in, out, and in out. Sometimes I'm not able to, I'm little bit confused on in and out. So in this case, what can I do? I'll simply make this value in and out both. I can use that value inside the XML file, and I can pass that value to my outside that variable. Simple. What I'll do, I simply use in out. That means both. I can take the action in and out. If I'll make this as a in and out, if I'll make this as a in and out, so now, and if I'll save that, and again if I'll, for example, now var int 1, and if I'll make that var int 2, and if I'll use var addition, now I can send this 2 value inside the addition workflow, as well as now I can out this value from addition to the main workflow. So both operations we can perform with help of the in out operation, right? So we have three you can say direction here. First is equal to in, inside. Second is equal to out, outside. And if you want to go with in and out both, so I can use in and out. Let's see now for the remaining one here. So here also what we'll do, now this is addition, so similar way inside this import argument, here we'll use the same variable, right? Variable int1, then variable int2, and now we have variable int, or you can say var subtraction. Okay, and here, okay, multiplication, for multiplication I'll use var int1, var int2, and here I'll use var multiplication. Right, again I need value in this main.xml file, so I'll just make this direction as out. For subtraction as well, I'll just change the direction as a out, right? Subtraction, multiplication, in addition, right? So in out, that is fine, but as a standard practice, this is I need in, and here I'm passing that value out, so I'll use out. Okay, so addition, subtraction, multiplication, now again subtraction, so var, you know, subtraction, and here I'll use var multiplication, var multiplication. Right, now I'll simply use just like the same, right? I'll simply use, after that I'll use addition, and I'll use subtraction instead of the addition. I'll use subtraction, right? And instead of this var addition, I'll use var subtraction. And here, right, inside this multiplication, right, so here subtraction, and here multiplication, addition, right, subtraction, and for multiplication I'll use the right line, right, and here I'll use multiplication, right, plus sign to concatenate that, so var multiplication, same. So it's an right line, so it's required value in a string format, so dot to string, right? Now I'll just simply execute this. Okay, this is my addition, this is my subtraction, and this is not required. Okay, so okay, right line. Okay, now this is my standard you can say workflow. This is my standard program. In this way we can create my dynamic program. Now I'll just run it directly. Okay, I don't require to debug this code. Okay, it's gone away because I'm changing that, no? So that's what, again I'll just use var integer 1, var integer 2, and here out var addition. Every time when if I'll change the arguments, so it will reflect here as well. So here also we'll see, yeah, it's there, and again here also it's there, out, right? That's what that error showed us. Okay, now I'll again execute this. Now it's break, right? That is the breakpoint. That's what my execution is breaked over there. So I'll just, now if you see subtraction is equal to 10, I'll get my result. Okay, addition is equal to 30. If you see, addition is equal to 30, subtraction is equal to 10, 20 minus 10 is equal to 10, and multiplication is equal to 20 into 10 is equal to 200, right? So in this way you can used argument, right? Argument is very, very important when if you want to pass any value from one workflow to another workflow, from one XML file to another XML file, from one page to another page. We can use arguments. If I want to pass a value throughout my projects, I can pass that value with help of the argument throughout my projects. Understand?